Good morning, friends. This is our class number 2 on the chapter titled The Rule of the Road, written by A.G. Gardiner. And we are on a paragraph wise discussion on this chapter. So, here I start paragraph number 3, page number 46. Liberty is not a personal affair only, but a social contract. Not a personal affairs only means it's not a matter, or it's a not only a personal concern, but also a social contract. Contract means agreement, a social agreement. It is an adjustment of interests. It is an adjustments of interests in matters which do not touch anyone else's liberty. Of course, I may be as free as I like. Matters, of course, means natural or expected things. That means the actions of mine which do not hamper or harm or affect anyone else's liberty. I may be as free as I like. I can do anything as I like. If I choose to go down the Strand, a fashionable street in London where a number of roads meet. If I choose to go down the Strand in a dressing gown with long hair and bare feet, who shall say me nay? Nay means no, or here it means who is going to impede me? You have the liberty to laugh at me. You have the freedom to laugh at me. But I have the liberty to indifferent to you. But I have the liberty to be indifferent to you. Indifferent means showing lack of interest. You may laugh at me, and I have the liberty to ignore you. And which heaven forbid means may it not happen. And which heaven forbid, or wearing a tall hat, frock coat and sandals, or going to bed late, or getting up early, I shall follow my fancy. That means I shall follow my whim and ask no man's permissions. And ask no man's permission. That means in such cases which do not affect anyone else's liberty, which don't disturb any other, I am free to do this. And I don't want to seek anyone's permission. So these are some examples the writer gave, that if I choose to go down the Strand in a dressing gown, I may look ridiculous with long hair and bare feet. That means wearing no shoes, bare feet. Who shall say me nay? You have the liberty to laugh at me. I have the liberty to be indifferent to you. And which heaven forbid, or wearing a tall hat, frock coat and sandals, or going bed late, or getting up early, I shall follow my fancy and ask no man's permission. That means these actions do not hamper anyone's liberty or anyone's interest. And in such cases, we are free to do, or we can satisfy ourselves in doing such things. Next paragraph. In all these and thousand other details, you and I please ourselves and asks no one's leave. In such items, you and I please ourselves. Please here means derive satisfaction ourselves and ask no one's leave, ask no one's permission or consent. We have a whole kingdom in which we rule alone. That means here I am a king. I have a kingdom and I am the king. We have a whole kingdom in which we rule alone, can do what we choose, be wise or ridiculous. Ridiculous means unreasonable, harsh or easy, conventional or odd. Conventional means usual, or odd means strange. But directly we step out of that kingdom. Our personal liberty of action is restricted by other people's liberty. But directly we step out of that kingdom. Our personal liberty of action is restricted, is limited by other people's liberty. I might, here the author is giving an example. I might like to practice on the trombone from midnight till 3 in the morning. Trombone, a musical instrument causing a huge sound. Trombone. I I might like to practice on the trombone from midnight till 3 in the morning. If I went on the top of Helvellyn, a mountain peak in Wales. If I went onto the top of Helvellyn to do it, I could please myself. That means I can do it. But if I do it out in the streets, the neighbors will remind me that my liberty to blow the trombone interferes with their liberty to sleep in quiet. But instead, if I do this or if I practice this out in the street, obviously it will cause a great disturbance to the people who wants to sleep in peace or in quiet. There are a lot of people in the world, and I have to accommodate my liberty to their liberties. That means I have to keep in my mind that I am not alone in the world. There are people around me. They have their own liberties, they have their own interests, and if I want to satisfy my interest and if I want to enjoy my liberty, I have to adjust, I have to accommodate, means I have to adjust my liberty to their liberties. That means while enjoying my liberty, I should keep it in my mind that the actions or my actions of enjoying liberty should not hamper anyone's interest or their liberties. We are all liable to forget this. We are all likely to forget this, unfortunately. We are much more conscious of the imperfections of others in this respect than of our own. That means we all forget this, and unfortunately we are very much aware or we are very much conscious of the imperfections, means faults of others in this respect than of our own. That means we are likely to forget our faults, but we are very much aware of the faults of others and we remind it to them. Here the author wants to say that we should think reasonably, we should restrict our actions so that our actions should not disturb any others. We can choose whatever we do, but keeping in mind that these actions should not disturb anyone else. Friends, this is what for today's class. We will continue our discussion in next classes. We will meet in the next class. Take care of yourself and be safe. Thank you.